It's been a long 7 months, but finally, NFL is back. Week 1 has come to an end, and we definitely had an exciting opening week. Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Kenny Ojeikere, alongside CheRanda Hammond and Jude Wozniak. So we'll be giving a rundown. We saw a lot of close games, but I like the Steelers and the Bengals, which went into overtime. Let's talk about that first.
Well, let's talk about that Steelers defense. Mike Tomlin, again, bringing out potentially the best defense in football. Yes, I'm going to talk about the injuries in just a second, but this defense swarming, Minka Fitzpatrick, is definitely upset not reaching the NFL top 100. After having a phenomenal season last year, he just keeps getting slept on. Nobody knows why. You continue to move down that D-line, swarming. Larry Ogunjobi dominating, a good free agent signing for them, Cam Hayward. Always dominant. It seems like father time on the D-line. And then T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith, game wreckers off the edge. You have Malik Reed, who you just traded from the Broncos, coming into his 4th season. Dominant players that these Steelers have all across. However, you have to look at the injuries. What's going to happen? You look at the offensive side. Najee Harris going down with an ankle injury. Got informed today, not as serious, potential that he will be able to play next week against New England. You also go to the O-line. Mason Cole, a trade aspect that they had in their sights, and they got him this year. They got him, and he had an ankle injury late in the 4th, but he came back in, so he looks good to go. Levi Wallace, a corner coming in from Buffalo, looked phenomenal all game, had an ankle injury as well. I don't know what the trend is with ankle injuries. Maybe Cincinnati should check their turf. But he seems to be all right and should be good to play next week, and who knows what will happen. But everyone's talking about this T.J. Watt injury, and who knows what's going to happen with him. A torn pec, one of the worst injuries to get as a defensive end, lineman, outside linebacker kind of hybrid. He's pushing consistently a lot with his left arm, and it didn't look good when he came off. He immediately said, I tore my pec. So you have to look what's going to happen with him. However, getting some news that maybe it's only 6 weeks out. And finally, for the Bengals, don't worry with what's going to happen with you. You have Joe Burrow, probably the most electrifying player in all of sports right now, the most clutch player that you could see. He had a great drive at the end of the game. Just Evan McPherson choked it away from him, and a great play by Minka Fitzpatrick. So the Bengals will be fine. The Steelers came out, and they were pissed about last year, and they played great.
I agree with that. So there was also another game, I believe, the Saints and the Falcons, which was decided by 1 score. Sharon, do you want to take us into that one?
Yeah, so when the visitors become the landlord, that's what the Saints posted on their Instagram. For the last 5 consecutive years, the Saints have beat the Falcons at home in Atlanta, Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Superdome. It looked kind of not so promising. It looked like the Falcons were going to win. You know, the Saints going into with a 13-point deficit in the 4th quarter. 38 seconds left on the clock. Jameis throws it out wide, to get us down the field, and then that sets Will Lutz up for the 51-yard field goal. For the past 2 weeks with college and the NFL, I've been saying these kickers need some extensive training for all of the misses we had. Just Sunday alone, there was 5 missed field goals and extra points. I think, but not Will Lutz, because he's the only one that made the extra point to help them win. But yeah, it's definitely an intense game, just like the Bengals Steelers. I definitely got to say that'll be definitely on my top games.
Yeah, a ton of fun games that were decided by 1 score. I love to see it. So it's going to be a long season, though. I got to hear some hot takes. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so for me, it's got to be the Raiders. Josh McDaniels is their head coach, and, coming from the Patriots under Bill Belichick, that never seems to work out for anyone. They always have a terrible season after you leave Bill Belichick. In their division, the Chargers are a young team. Kansas City looks great. It's not going to be so easy for them. So I'm thinking the Raiders will finish last in their division.
The Bill Belichick coaching effect, it's kind of like Nick Saban in college football with all of his coaches losing to him consistently, except Kirby Smart won this year. But we're going to go to my hot take, and it is that Alex Highsmith will lead the NFL in sacks this year. This week for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 3 sacks coming out, making Jonah Williams want to retire. It was an embarrassment for Jonah Williams out there. Alex Highsmith, 3 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits, and 9 total tackles. He is a freak of nature when he is able to get downhill, and the Steelers have him standing up, rushing off the outside. They've been messing around with him, having in a 3-point stance. No, keep him up, let him rush the passer. And with T.J. Watt going out, maybe he'll move to the opposite side, which is where the Steelers have their dominant rush from. However, people are worried that the sack numbers will go down for Pittsburgh. They won't. They've led the NFL in sacks for 5 years straight now, and they will not look back from it. The Steelers, that defensive line has been so consistent for years. They keep drafting players, bringing free agents in. Alex Highsmith is going to show why that they don't need T.J. Watt for a couple weeks. Yes, it's going to hurt them. Yes, you won't have those game-wrecking plays from him. But Alex Highsmith, he is someone to look out for. T.J. Watt, in his 3rd year, he started to look amazing. This is now Alex Highsmith's 3rd year. Time to put your name on the map if you are Alex Highsmith.
I'm going to go with another young player. I think that Justin Jefferson is going to go for a triple crown. You saw Cooper Kupp do it last year, which has only been done 16 times in the NFL, but I think it's going to be a 17th time this season. Cooper Kupp, he lost his offensive coordinator, who is now with Justin Jefferson. So Justin Jefferson is now getting matchups in the slot. So he's seeing linebackers and safeties. He's not seeing corners. He's not seeing press coverage. Justin Jefferson just came off of 9 receptions, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns against the Packers defense, which we all think is a great defense. So to do that just in week 1, I think Justin Jefferson's going to get that triple crown. That's a wrap for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. Stay tuned for week 2 of the NFL. For Jude, Wozniak, and CheRanda Hammond, I'm Kenny Ojeikere. Have a great night.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.